Welcome to My Thailand Stories. Today we hear from a warehouse manager from Birmingham who thought he'd found love and financial opportunity in the same place. But behind the beautiful smile and promises of guaranteed returns was a carefully orchestrated plan that would cost him £40,000 and 25 years of savings. Here's his story. I'm Stephen. I'm 48 and I watched my entire life savings disappear in the time it took to reset a password that would never arrive. £40,000. Gone. That's my story. Let me tell you how they did it. I've worked in logistics and warehouse management for 25 years. Last 10 with the same company in Birmingham. Never been married. Had a few long-term relationships that didn't work out. By 2022, I'd more or less accepted that I'd probably end up alone. I wasn't miserable about it. I had a decent job, a small house that was nearly paid off, about £45,000 in savings I'd been building up for retirement. In November 2022, a mate from work convinced me to go to Thailand with him for 2 weeks. His name's Gary. He goes every year. Divorced in his 50s. Loves Pattaya. I'd never been to Asia before. Wasn't sure about it. But Gary said it'd do me good. Get some sun, have a few beers, relax. I booked the trip. We stayed in a hotel on Beach Road in Pattaya. First few days were exactly what Gary had promised. We drank, we ate, we walked around. We went to the bars. It was fine, but it wasn't really my scene. I'm not a big drinker, and I felt a bit uncomfortable with the whole bar girl situation. Gary loved it. I felt like I was just going through the motions. On the 4th day, Gary wanted to go on a boat trip to some islands. I said I'd sit that one out. Just wander around on my own. I ended up walking down to Central Festival, the big shopping mall, just to get out of the heat. I was sitting in a coffee shop on the ground floor, scrolling through my phone, when a woman sat down at the table next to me. She was Thai, maybe mid-30s, very pretty, dressed nicely in a business-style outfit, crisp white blouse, dark skirt. She smiled at me, said hello, asked if I was on holiday. I said yes, and we started chatting. Her English was excellent, much better than most of the people I'd spoken to so far. Her name was Chanida. She said she worked in hotel management in Pattaya. She was on her lunch break. We talked for about half an hour. She was easy to talk to. Friendly, not pushy. She asked where I was from, what I did for work, how I was finding Thailand. I asked her about her job, about living in Pattaya. It felt like a normal conversation, not like she was working or trying to get money from me. When she said she had to get back to work, I asked if she'd like to meet for dinner. She smiled and said yes. We met that evening at a restaurant near the beach. She looked beautiful in a blue dress that caught the ocean breeze. We had a great time. She told me about growing up in Nakhon Ratchasima, about moving to Pattaya for work, about her family. She said she had a younger brother who lived in Bangkok and worked in finance. She said her parents were retired and lived up country. Everything she said seemed normal, believable, real. At the end of the night, I paid for dinner and asked if I could see her again. She said she'd like that. We exchanged line messages and agreed to meet the next day. I went back to the hotel feeling better than I'd felt in years. Gary laughed at me, said I was acting like a teenager. I didn't care. Over the next week, I saw Chanida every day. We went to restaurants, walked along the beach, visited temples. She never asked me for money. She never suggested I buy her things. She paid for her own meals half the time. It felt like a real relationship, not a transaction. On my last night in Thailand, she came back to my hotel and stayed with me. The next morning, when I had to leave for the airport, she cried. She said she didn't want me to go. I said I'd come back soon. I flew home to Birmingham and couldn't stop thinking about her. We messaged every day online. She sent me photos of what she was doing, where she was eating, what she was wearing, selfies with that smile. I sent her photos of the grey English weather and my boring warehouse. She said she missed me. I said I missed her too. In January, I booked another trip, 2 weeks in Pattaya. Gary thought I was mad. I didn't care. I wanted to see Chanida again. When I arrived, she met me at the airport. She'd taken the day off work. We went straight to my hotel and spent the whole day together. It felt like we'd never been apart. During that trip, Chanida introduced me to her brother. His name was Kasim. He drove down from Bangkok to meet us for dinner. Younger than Chanida, maybe early 30s. Well-dressed, confident. He wore designer jeans and a watch that probably cost more than my monthly salary. He worked for a financial trading company in Bangkok, something to do with foreign exchange and cryptocurrency. I didn't really understand it, but he seemed successful. He drove a nice car, paid for dinner without even looking at the bill. Kassem asked me about my job, about England, about what I wanted to do in the future. I told him I was hoping to retire in 10 years or so, maybe buy a place somewhere warm. He said Thailand was a great place to retire. He said property was cheap, cost of living was low, and if I invested wisely I could retire even sooner. I said I had some savings but nothing massive. He said it didn't matter. He said with the right investments, even a small amount could grow quickly. I didn't think much of it at the time. Just dinner conversation. But a few days later, Chanida brought it up again. She said Kassem had told her he could help me if I was interested in investing. She said he'd helped a lot of people, including some foreigners, that he was very good at what he did. She said he'd made her a lot of money over the past few years. I asked what kind of investments. She said mainly foreign exchange trading and Bitcoin. She said the returns were very good. I was skeptical. I'd heard about Bitcoin, but I didn't really understand it. I'd always kept my money in savings accounts and a small pension. But Chanida said Kassem was a professional, that he worked for a legitimate company, that he only traded with regulated platforms. She showed me some screenshots on her phone of her own trading account. It showed profits of hundreds of thousands of baht over the past year. The numbers looked impressive. I said I'd think about it. Chanida didn't push. She just said that if I was serious about retiring early, and maybe living in Thailand, it was worth considering. She said Kassem could explain everything properly if I wanted. I said maybe. The next day, Kassem invited us to his office in Bangkok. He said he wanted to show me how the trading worked. No pressure. Just so I could understand. Chanida said we should go. She said it'd be interesting. I agreed. We drove up to Bangkok, about an hour and a half through traffic. Kassem's office was in a modern building near Sukhumvit. It looked professional. Glass doors, air conditioning that actually worked. Reception desk with a pretty woman answering phones. There were other people working there. Computers everywhere, screens showing graphs and numbers that moved constantly. Kassem took us into a meeting room and spent an hour explaining how foreign exchange trading worked. He showed me charts, talked about currency pairs, explained how you could make money when currencies went up or down. He made it sound simple. Then he showed me his own trading account. He logged in on his computer and showed me his balance. It was over 2 million baht, about £50,000. He showed me his trading history, wins and losses, but mostly wins. Green numbers everywhere. He said he'd been doing this for 5 years, that his average return was about 30% per year. He said if I invested £10,000, I could realistically expect to make £3,000 profit in a year. Maybe more. I said it sounded too good to be true. He laughed, said that was what everyone said at first. He said the key was discipline, strategy, using the right platforms. He said most people lose money because they trade emotionally, but he used algorithms and data. He said he could manage my account for me if I wanted. He'd charge a 10% fee on profits, nothing up front. I asked what the risks were. He said there was always risk, but that he used stop losses to minimise them. He said the most I could lose on any single trade was 5% of my capital. He said in 5 years of trading, he'd only had 2 losing months. He showed me statements to prove it. Official looking. Documents with logos and stamps. Chanida squeezed my hand and said she trusted her brother completely. She said he'd helped her save enough money to buy her own condo. She said I should start small, see how it goes. And if I wasn't happy, I could withdraw any time. I thought about it for the rest of the trip. £45,000 sitting in a savings account earning almost nothing. Maybe 1% interest if I was lucky. If Kassem could really make 30% a year, that was over £13,000 profit. In 3 years, I could have over 60,000. I could retire early. I could move to Thailand. I could be with Chanida. On my last day, I told Kassem I wanted to invest £10,000 to start. He said that was a great decision. He gave me the details of a trading platform account to set up. Said once I transferred the money, he'd start trading for me. I flew back to England and set everything up. The website looked professional. Registration forms, terms and conditions, verification documents. A week later, I transferred £10,000. The first month was incredible. Kassem sent me daily updates online, screenshots of trades he'd made, graphs showing profits, explanations of why he'd bought or sold certain currency pairs. Within 2 weeks, my account showed a profit of £800. Within a month, it was over £2,000. I could see it all on the trading platform. The numbers were right there. Updating in real time. £12,000 total balance. 20% profit in 1 month. I messaged Chanida and told her I couldn't believe it. She said she'd told me Qasim was good. She said I should trust him. I did. In March, I went back to Thailand for another 2 weeks. Chanida took time off work and we spent every day together. We talked about the future. She said she loved me. I said I loved her too. I meant it. She said maybe in a year or two, I could move to Thailand permanently. She said with the money I was making from trading, I could afford it easily. Maybe we could buy a house together, start a business, build something real. I said maybe. Qasim met us for dinner again. He showed me my account on his phone. £14,000. I'd made £4,000 profit in 2 months. He said I was doing great. He said if I wanted to accelerate my gains, I should consider investing more. He said the more capital I had, the more I could make. He said some of his clients had turned £50,000 into £200,000 in 3 years. I said I'd think about it. But the truth is, I'd already decided. I could see the numbers. I could see the profits. It was working. When I got back to England, I transferred another £15,000. That brought my total investment to £25,000. Over half my savings. But I wasn't worried. In 2 months, I made £4,000. At that rate, I'd double my money in a year. April and May were good months. Qasim continued sending updates. My balance grew. 28,000. 30,000. By June, my account showed £32,000. I'd made £7,000 profit in 6 months. I was ecstatic. I told Gary at work. He said it sounded dodgy. He said I should withdraw some of the profit, just to make sure it was real. I said I would, but I didn't. I wanted to let it grow. In July, Qasim messaged me. He said there was a big opportunity coming up. He said Bitcoin was about to make a significant move based on some regulatory news in the US. He said if I wanted to maximize my returns, I should invest more capital now, before the price jumped. He said this was the kind of opportunity that only came along a few times a year. He said he was putting a lot of his own money into it. I hesitated. I only had about £18,000 left in my savings. But Qasim sent me charts, articles, analysis from financial websites. He said he was confident. He said this could double my money in a matter of weeks. Chanida messaged me too. She said Qasim told her about it, that she was investing as well. She said we could both make a lot of money. She said imagine what we could do with that kind of profit. I thought about it for 2 days. Then I transferred another £15,000. My total investment was now £40,000. I had less than £3,000 left in my savings account. But my trading account showed £32,000. And if Qasim was right about Bitcoin, I could be looking at £60,000 or £70,000 within a month. I could retire, I could move to Thailand, I could marry Chanida. The first week of August, Qasim went quiet. He stopped sending daily updates. I messaged him asking how the Bitcoin trade was going. He replied saying everything was fine, just waiting for the right moment to take profits. I said okay. Another week passed. I checked the trading platform every day. The balance hadn't changed. It still showed £32,000. I messaged Qasim again. He said there'd been some unexpected volatility, that he was holding the position. He said not to worry. I tried not to. By the 3rd week of August, I was checking the platform every hour, multiple times during my shifts at the warehouse, on my lunch break, before bed, first thing in the morning. The balance still hadn't changed. I messaged Qasim asking if I could withdraw some of my profit. He said it was better to leave everything in for now, because the Bitcoin position was still open. He said if I withdrew funds, it might trigger a margin call. I didn't really understand what that meant, but I trusted him. Then on August 23rd, everything changed. I tried to log into the trading platform and my password didn't work. I reset it. The reset email never came. I tried again. Nothing. I messaged to Qasim. No reply. I messaged Chanida. No reply. I tried calling Qasim's phone. It rang once and went to voicemail. I tried calling Chanida. The same. I started to panic. I went onto the trading platform's website and looked for a customer service number. I called it. An automated message said the number was no longer in service. I searched online for the company name. Nothing came up. I searched for reviews. Nothing. I searched for the office address Qasim had shown me in Bangkok. It was a serviced office building. where anyone could rent a desk by the day. My stomach dropped. I tried messaging Qasim and Chanida again. Both accounts showed that I'd been blocked. I tried calling. Both numbers were disconnected. I went onto Facebook and searched for their profiles. Deleted. I searched for Qasim's company. Nothing. I searched for the trading platform. Nothing. I sat at my kitchen table and stared at my phone. £40,000. Gone. Everything I'd saved for 25 years. I felt sick. I felt stupid. I felt like the biggest idiot in the world. I called Gary, I told him everything. He said I needed to report it to the police immediately. I said what was the point? They were in Thailand. The money was gone. He said I should try anyway. I called the police the next morning, explained what had happened. They took a report and said they'd pass it on to Action Fraud, the UK's fraud reporting service. They said there wasn't much they could do if the scammers were overseas. I reported it to Action Fraud online. I gave them every detail. The names, the dates, the transfers, the screenshots. They gave me a reference number and said someone would be in touch. Nobody ever was. I contacted my bank and asked if there was any way to reverse the transfers. They said no. I'd authorised the payments. They'd gone to a legitimate-looking trading platform. There was nothing they could do. I asked if they could trace where the money went after that. They said it had been moved through multiple accounts in different countries within hours of me sending it. It was gone. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I took a week off work and just sat in my house, replaying everything in my mind. How could I have been so stupid? How did I not see it? The answer was obvious. I'd wanted to believe it. I'd wanted the money. I'd wanted the life in Thailand. I'd wanted Chanida. Chanida. I thought about her constantly. Had any of it been real? Had she ever cared about me? Or was I just a target from the moment I sat down in that coffee shop? I didn't know. I'd never know. In September, I got a message online from a number I didn't recognise. It said, "Hello, Stephen, this is Chanida. I'm so sorry for what happened. Qasim lied to me too. He took my money as well. I did not know he was scam. Please believe me." I stared at the message. Part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me wanted to think she'd been a victim too. But I knew better. I replied, "How much did he take from you?" She said 50,000 baht. I did the math. That was about £1,200. I'd lost 40,000. I didn't reply. She messaged again. She said, "I still love you. I want to see you. Can you come back to Thailand? We can start again." I blocked her number. A week later, another message from another number. This time it said it was Qasim. He said there'd been a terrible mistake. He said the trading platform had been hacked, that he'd lost all his clients' money. He said he was working with lawyers to try to recover it. He said if I could send £5,000 to help with legal fees, he could get my money back. I blocked that number too. I realised then that they'd never stop. Even after taking everything, they'd keep trying. They'd keep coming back, hoping I was desperate enough or stupid enough to send more. I wasn't. I joined some online forums for scam victims, found hundreds of people with similar stories. Investment scams, romance scams, business scams, all in Thailand, all following the same basic pattern. A relationship or friendship, an introduction to someone in finance or business, promises of high returns, fake platforms, and then disappearing. Some people had lost more than me, some had lost less, but we'd all been played. One man in the forum had lost £80,000 in a property scam. Another had lost £60,000 in a fake gold trading scheme. A woman had lost £30,000 to a man she thought she was going to marry. Reading their stories made me feel slightly less alone, but it didn't make me feel any better. In January 2024, I decided I needed to tell my story, not for revenge, not to try to get my money back, but to warn other people. I posted about it on Reddit, on Thailand forums, on travel groups. I wrote down everything that had happened. The coffee shop meeting, the relationship, the brother, the investment, the disappearance. Within a day, I had dozens of replies. Some people said I was an idiot. Some people said I deserved it. But most people thanked me. They said they'd almost fallen for something similar. They said reading my story'd stopped them from making the same mistake. A few people messaged me privately and said they'd lost money to the exact same people. Same names, same story, same trading platform. One man said he'd lost £25,000. Another said £15,000. We compared notes, shared screenshots, tried to piece together how many people Kasim and Chanida had scammed. We counted at least 8. Probably more. I haven't been back to Thailand. I don't think I ever will. The thought of going back makes me feel sick. I see photos of Pattaya online sometimes. Photos of the beach, the restaurants, the hotels. And all I can think about is sitting in that coffee shop, Chanida smiling at me, saying hello the moment everything started. People ask me if I've tried dating again. I haven't. I don't trust my own judgment anymore. I don't trust that I wouldn't fall for the same thing again. I feel like something broke inside me when I realised I'd been scammed. Not just my bank account, but my ability to trust, to believe in people, to think that someone could genuinely care about me. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. Gary still goes to Thailand every year. He asked me last month if I wanted to go with him again. I said no. He said I shouldn't let one bad experience ruin the whole country for me. I said it wasn't just the country, it was me. I ruined it for myself. I let my loneliness and my greed cloud my judgment. I ignored every warning sign because I wanted to believe I'd found something real, and I paid for it. £40,000. That's what it cost me to learn that lesson. 25 years of warehouse work. 25 years of saving carefully. Vanished. I still work at the same warehouse in Birmingham. I still live in the same house. I still have the same life I had before I went to Thailand. Except now I'm £40,000 poorer and a whole lot lonelier. That's my story. I handed over my entire life savings to a woman who sat down next to me in a coffee shop, and her fake brother who showed me fake profits on a fake platform. I hope sharing this prevents someone else from doing the same. Thanks for sharing, Stephen. The romance investment scam is one of the most devastating cons in Thailand because it weaponizes both loneliness and hope. Stephen lost everything to people who knew exactly how to make a lonely man believe he'd finally found something real. This is my Thailand stories. Keep your guard up out there.